request of one of my subscribers, hello Andrew, I've been asked to try and turn a Winnie the Pooh honey pot. Sort of goes with the honey dipper I did a while back. So I picked out this piece of sapele, good colour, and I went in the back and had a look at the original artwork from the Winnie the Pooh books, and decided on a design which is going to follow that rather than the sort of more Disney version of it. So I've sort of turned myself a nice tenon. I'm going to swap this round, remount it, do a bit of truing up, and then we can start the process. I'm going to make this a lidded jar. In the illustrations originally it's sort of shown with a sort of cloth cover over the top, but I'm going to keep myself a bit of material just to do a lid with, just in case I want to do that at the end. But otherwise I'm going to focus on the pot very much to start off with, and we'll see what it turns out like. Right, so first thing is going to be to get it properly trued up, get rid of these flat spots. Then I'll just part off a top section for the lid, and then we can start doing the shaping. I'm looking for roughly, well, you've seen from the pictures, 1/3, 2/3 nice curve on it, and then we'll look at beading some pattern into it and see what we get. A little bit more there, just get rid of the last of that flat spot. Okay, so I've sort of defined the widest point there, and about 1/3 of it above the line, and about 2/3 below the line. So we'll now get some rough shaping done. Okay, so I've roughly got the shape I want. I'm probably going to shorten it a little bit just to give it a slightly more fat look, which is sort of more like the original image, but I'm going to try getting the beading on first. So I'm going to do a section of beads along the whole body length, which sort of seems to be how it's shown. Almost looks a bit like a beehive in the original pictures, and then we'll see what we've got after that. So I've just quickly defined the sort of the V's, and now I'm going to try with a let's see, probably either a parting tool or a small skew, just to try and round them a bit more, make them a little bit more bead-like. Start off with a small skew, but I might have to go down to the parting tool to get the effect I want. We'll see how we get on. Okay, very pleased with the way that came out. It's shaped very nicely and it's working quite nicely with the wood grain. So I think I'm just going to define the bottom here, and then we can start the hollowing out process. there we have it. Relatively painless to do. This peel is cut nice and easy, so all we're going to do now is sand that up. Now, one of the options to be like the original picture, and I'll flash it up here, is you could, say, take a Dremel tool and grind down a panel on this, and then write the honey, the lovely misspelt honey word across it. But actually I quite like this as it is, and I like the detail and the way it's picked out on the grain. So I think I'm going to leave it without on this one. So as I said, sand it up, seal it up, and then I'll try and turn a lid to go in it. We'll take it from there. For finishing on this, I'm going to try something I've had a bit of success with, which is tung oil. It is a tree seed oil, and for those people with tree seed allergy, it's not a good idea. That is pretty rare, a lot rarer than nut allergy, and it gives a really good sort of waterproof, durable finish. So it's good for things like chopping boards. It actually shows up on the side, and general salad bowl finishes. And I think will be perfect for this and give it a sort of more matte look than the usual shellac finish I go for. So let's give it a try. So what they say with this is you really just need to give it a good soaking, let it soak in for a bit, and then mop off the excess and then redo it again and just build up the level of oil that way. I'm going to make sure I get down into all the grooves. We can already see that's really bringing out the textures beautifully, and the colour of the sapele or sapele, and was the effect I was after. Okay, so here's the honey pot as it stands, with its sort of first coat of tung oil on. Very pleased with the way it's turned out. So what I'm going to do now is try and make a top for it. As I said, in the pictures I could find, the pots were generally shown without tops, or just a cloth top over. So I'm going to design something freeform that sort of fits with the design. So let's move on to that stage. So what I'm going to do, this is the piece of timber I cut off at the start. I did that for grain matching. Actually, with this timber you can probably get away with just cutting another lid from this block, and I might have to come back and do that, we'll see. But I'd like to try and do it from here, just for a bit of practice as much as anything. So I'm going to use this as a glue block, and hot glue that on, turn the base that will go inside the lid, inside the pot, and then use the back of it and turn the handle. Hopefully it'll be enough to have a nice little gentle handle pull there. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, the glue's now hot enough, it's running fairly well. Yeah, that's actually taken. So what I'm going to do is going to quickly just run bead round just to give me a bit of extra joint and strength. I'm not going to be hopefully aggressively turning this, but it always helps. Before I had my chuck I used to use this method quite regularly, and the one real annoyance with it, if it pops off the glue block, you can't really re-centre very easily. If you happen to knock it out of the chuck, you've got a fighting chance. This is a technique therefore is a little bit tougher. There we are, there's just a rough bead around the edge to try and help hold it in place. I'll let that go off, and then we'll start turning. Right, it's just as I start the turn I've brought the tailstock up to try and add a bit of support, and I'm just going to true off this face and then hopefully take away the tailstock, and we'll start making the stopper the right shape to fit inside the pot. I'm trying to do is keep with the sort of rounded theme that we've got with the rest of the pot. I do want to take that lid in. I want the lid to be slightly smaller than the top. It'll look right. So I've got quite a bit of material I can take away there. Also, I've now got a tenon that I should be able to attach to in the jaws. So should this pop up, we're now safe. So I'm going to see if I can just thin that down to the size I want, and then we'll be ready to flip it. Okay, so we've got about the same size, but I think it will still look better just a bit smaller. Yeah, smaller still, maybe to the size of the next ring down would look good. I'm going to go just a little bit smaller than that, just to get the contrast that I want. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, I'm now going to sand that off, and then I'll flip it and re-chuck it onto this tenon I've got, and then we'll finish the top, and hopefully that's the pot done. I'm going to do a little design to allow the honey dipper to go in, but we'll see that when we get there. Okay, so I've taken away the glue block and I've now attached it. If you weren't happy about working this close to the jaws, I sort of am for what I'm going to do, which is just some shaping on the outside here and the formation of a little button to grip it by. You could just use the glue block again to extend it away from the chuck. I'm reasonably comfortable operating this close. This is where I shoot myself in the foot live on video, but let's see how we get on. So I'm just going to smooth out this front plane, create a little sort of knob by which it can be grasped, and see what we get. This is not a tight fitting lid, so it's not going to be something you can haul on, just a way of gripping it and lifting it away. Okay, there we have the simple lid. It doesn't need to be anything more complicated than that. Easy enough to remove. It's just ready to keep the dust and particulates out of your honey. Before I finish it off completely, what I'm going to do is drill a small hole in the lid so I can put the honey dipper in, and cut a couple of slots on the bandsaw just so that it's got a slot so you can lift the lid away, use the honey dipper, put it back, put the lid on. So I'm going to get the honey dipper out now, and we'll get that marked up and cut. So I've rough marked with a pencil where I want the slot to be. Got a sort of 45-degree angle to the grain just to keep the interest of the grain. Nice clean hole through. So I'm just going to use the bandsaw now to join that line to the outside, and that should be perfect for the honey dipper. And there we go. Let's get that in frame for you. Just a little notch, I'll give that a sand up, and that should be just what we need. And there we have the final piece, all sanded up and oiled. With the addition of the honey dipper in there, you can see how the lid easily works. Just take it off, and protects your honey from toast crumbs, I guess. Pleased with the way that's turned out as a challenge. It matches the original Pooh pots, I think, quite well. Pooh pots, never mind. But the Winnie the Pooh honey pot really well. I'm pleased with the way that's come out. Good for one person who likes a bit of honey on toast in the mornings. If you wanted to increase the design, change it. Obviously that's the joy of doing your own woodwork. You can make it to fit what you want. But I'm really pleased with the scale of that. I think that would work really nicely. Right, well, thanks very much for the challenge from my subscribers. I've enjoyed that. An interesting piece to make, and I'll see you in the next video.